Alright, this is going to be an update to the nameplate project that we did before. Again, we're going to start with Autodesk Inventor. Double click on the big brown eye icon on your desktop. When this loads, we're going to do the same nameplate that we did before. We're going to add some things to it to make it better for the 3D printer that we're using. And so if this does not come up here where you have part assembly, drawing, and presentation, if it does come up, we're going to click on part. If it does not come up and there's nothing here, then you could just click the home button to get that. Or you could go up to new. I could click on new, and we're going to do a standard IPT.IPT. Or you could go up to the application menu and go new and go to new part. So either one of those would work. You choose which one you want to do. So it's still loading right here. It takes a little longer here. So as this comes up, again, this is the graphics window. This is where all of our work's going to be done. This is the browser over here on the left. Remember, this is the ribbon. And then we have these little tabs up here called the ribbon tab. So in the graphics window, this is where we're going to do our project. So we want to start a sketch up in the ribbon. So I click Start Sketch, and I've got my 3 planes, and I'm going to use the XY plane right here. Okay, now that I'm at the XY plane, this is just like last time. We're going to do a rectangle, and we're going to click and let go. So click, it turns green right there, so I'm going to click, let go, and then I can move this around to make this the size that I want it. Now I could spread that out to make it, or since that blue, there's a it's highlighted blue, 0.597 right there. If I just type in the number 3, it changes to 3. Okay. Now I can click the tab button, or I could go down here and click on the 0.380. So I could click tab, and it will go down here, or I could just click on the 0.380, and I'm going to make that 2. So it's going to be a 3-inch by 2-inch box. Now notice I can't see the whole thing, so if I want to see the whole thing, I'm going to click on the front of the view cube. Remember, this is the view cube here. So I've got a 3x2 rectangle here. So we're done sketching our rectangle. So I can click the finish sketch up here at the top right. Alright, and again, it goes out of my view, so I can hit this home button or hit the front button. Either way, I'm going to hit the home button just so I can see an isometric view of it. And there it is. Alright, so now I want to make this a 3D object. Right now it's just 2D. I want to make this a 3D object by clicking Extrude in the ribbon. And then right now it's extruding it, defaulted it to 1 inch. I don't want it to be 1 inch. I'm going to try to make it 0.1. Let's make it 0.15. Makes it a little bit thicker. And then just click Enter. So 0.15 and click Enter. And now we have our 3D object here. Okay. We want to do some writing on the front of it. Okay. So right here is the front. Notice that when I go into the front, it changes to that light gray color. And I can right click on that. And then options come up. And we want to click on New Sketch. So right click, New Sketch. Right click, New Sketch, and it brings me up here. We want to add some font to this. So I'm going to go up here and click on Text to add my text to this. Okay. So I want the text. I'm going to start at the very top of this rectangle and go all the way down to the very bottom of the rectangle and let go. And so what we're going to do, for the sake of size, I'm going to go 2018-19 at the top. I'm going to click Enter twice. I'm going to put, you can do whatever you want. If you want to put last name, first name. So if this was mine, I would put Mr. Mans right there. And then I'd click 2 more times, return 2 more times. And then I could put KMS. You can put CT8. Whatever you'd like to put. Again, we're going to keep the letters few so that we can make them bigger. You probably could put CT8, KMS. That should be fine as well. And then I'm going to say OK. and notice what happens. It took it to the very left top part of the rectangle. Okay, and that is just, we don't like that obviously, so we want to make it bigger and we make it centered and all that stuff. So notice text is still highlighted and we want to get rid of that. We can either right click and say OK, or just OK, or you can click the escape button. Either way would work. Alright, so now we want to change this. So notice that turns white when I hover over it. So if it turns white, I can double click on it and open that back up. So now the text box is open again. I'm going to highlight the entire thing, just like that. And then I'm going to center justification left and right. And then I'm also going to center it up and down as well. Okay, so I'm centering it left and right and centering it up and down. Okay, so you can bold it. I'm going to bold mine. And then I can make it also bigger. So my Mr. Mans, I'm going to make that 0.4. Okay, and then the 2018-19, I'm going to make that 0.24, and then my CT8 KMS, I'm going to make that 0.24 as well, and say OK, and this is what mine will look like. So if you have a longer name, Mr. Mans, you might have to make the Mr. Mans not 0.4, but if I double click on that, maybe I want to make Mr. Mans a little bit smaller, so maybe 0.38, and say OK. Made it a little bit smaller. Okay, and I like that. So I'm going to finish the sketch, because this is, everything is exactly where I want it to be. Finish the sketch. And now I want to emboss the print. I want it to stick out of the rectangle. And so I'm going to click emboss, and then come back down and just click on, see where it turns white. You can click anywhere where it turns white. And then I want to tell it to extrude or emboss at a certain size. So we're going to go 0.075. Let's just see what that does. And I say OK. And that's what it's going to look like. 0.075 is probably a little too much. So if I go over here to my browser, I can right click on emboss and edit the feature and make that 0.05 or 0.075, make it 0.05. And then say OK, and now notice that it's not sticking out as far. Okay, last thing that we want to do is I want to fillet the edges. So I'm going to click fillet, and then just click just on the front edges. This is the front of our plate. I'm going to click on the front, the side edge, front bottom edge, and the front left side edge. Notice how much it rounded. If you like how much that's rounded, you can leave it. I kind of like it a little less rounded, so I'm going to go 0.075, and notice that the blue, just it's less rounded at that point. And that's how I want mine to look. There you are. Now I'm going to show you how to save, and you probably should do this when you first start instead of waiting to the end of this. So you can go up here, you can hit the little disk button, and it says save. You can go to application menu and you can click save, or you can do a Control S. Any of those would work. So I'm going to click save here, and then it's going to ask me. I'm going to name it nameplate, and you might already have one that's called nameplate, and maybe you want to call yours nameplate update because it is the update from your first one. And notice that it's in the documents. And click save, and you are finished. That's what it's going to print at. If you have time, you could change the color. Just remember, when we print these, it's only going to print in a certain color. All right. Hope it works out for you.